All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are located. Welcome to the next live Zoom session for the HM Inspiration and Mentorship Group. As always, this is done through Zoom, so I have to put out there that no classified information will be discussed via Zoom. Today, we have a very unique and special topic. It is called dual military, and we're going to talk to some dual military senior enlisted couples, and we're going to get to know them. Oh, my dog over here scratching. Um, so with that being said, I'm going to introduce them. Today we have Senior Chief Price, the Senior Chief Prices together. All right. And we have the Senior Chiefs, John Gills. And we have Lieutenant JG Select and Chief Kula Vangzas. So let me say thank you all first and foremost for taking the time out of your weekend and your day to give back to these junior sailors who are going to be following in your footsteps down this beautiful path of dual military and being married and all that good stuff. So thank you so much for doing that today. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. So my first question to you all, and we can start with Senior Chief Price and then work our way to John Gills and Kula Vangza. My first question to you all as a dual military couple, can you tell us what are some of the challenges that you've had to face or still have to face coming up through the ranks to where you are now?
I'll say like just the family dynamic itself. So like we have a 9-year-old son, and when you have two parents who strive to do well to bring it back to the family, we have to remember the reason that we're doing it in the first place is the family and not get caught up so much. So we have to make sure that we, don't erase them, make time for them. But those little small things, man, like, something happened at school, whether it's an illness or just a drill or something, or if there's something going on with him, homework or anything of that nature, man, or just, hey, I got an asthma attack, I got to stay home for a couple of days. If we want to go out, because, military does thing after hours. So if there's like, you know, Navy balls, khaki balls, the child care, because at the end of the day, the child, my little man comes first. So it's like, who's going to be at home to watch him? Let's get, that taken care of. And then with just us and ourselves, too many people focus on like competing. I'm not competing with my wife because we're in the same household. So we want to see each other do well, but the military doesn't allow, everybody to be great at the same time. So it's, all right, whose turn is it to kind of take a small back seat to watch the other one grow, and then vice versa.
Man.
And I say the other struggle is just being prepared to be separated. I know part of our marriage, we spent most of our marriage separated. We did a 2-year separation, and I was stuck being a single parent. He had times when I deploy, he has to be a single parent, so you just got to be prepared that even though we're married, there's most of our career will be doing single parenthood.
Okay, and that is a good segue. You bring up a good point with that. So, one person had to deploy, one person had to be single parent. How do you navigate through that? Like, how hard is that? Whether it's on the relationship or on your professional career, how hard is that trying to move through those waters?
Probably just as hard as any other single parent, but what makes the military better, I think, unique compared to civilians who are single parents is we have a military family and stuff. And when I was in Balboa for 2 years and Lex was in Japan on the GW while we were separated, honestly, I couldn't do it without the military family and chain of command, being there helping out, knowing when I had to take care of my son to do X, Y, and Z, just the support system. So I think that's an advantage compared to if somebody was just a parent in a civilian sector and not having family to rely on.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, then let's move next to the Senior Chief John Gills, and let's hear, if you don't mind, what were some of you guys' or still maybe some of your challenges that you face being dual military?
So we have, of course, the same challenges that the Prices just mentioned as well. But to add on a little bit to that, sometimes just in the day-to-day, we find to where we have to make sure that, you know, we are taking care of our sailors and being those leaders at work, but then there's a shift that has to happen at home, right? And I think we all know that, but when we are both strong leaders, to make the dynamic at home work, I'm also a very strong advocate for our women, for our young ladies. So it's just really important for us to be mindful of our roles that we have at work, and then some of the changes and things that we have to do at home to be successful. And that can be challenging in and of itself every day. So just to be a little bit more clear, for example, my husband, right, at home is our head of the household. I know that I can at any time take that lead, just kind of like Senior Chief Price mentioned as well, being that single parent and having to take the lead on things. But when we're here together, he is always the head of the household, and I am supportive of that. Even if tomorrow, next day at work, I'm out there leading and leading from the front, just being mindful of those shifts that have to happen can be a challenge.
Damn. That's real.
Yeah, for myself, you know, I think we all strive to be like our best leader at work, you know, and be, you know, that's how we got to be successful in our own rights. I also have to take a step back sometimes and understand that I need to strive to be the EP at home as well, right? Like I have to make sure my wife is like content and feel supportive just the same. So sometimes I have to remind myself that, because sometimes we want to be the best person we can be at work. You know, we get home and it's almost like we want to let I'm bald, but let our hair down, to, you know, to a certain extent. But what happens is that you truly can't. You need to take some time, obviously, to recuperate. But when you get home, there's just as much work that needs to be done, right? Because you got to make sure the kids are good. You got to make sure the wife feels supported, and stuff needs to get done in the house. And sometimes, you know, it wears on the couple, but you also have to take that time to ensure that, okay, stop everything. Let's get together. Let's sit down. Let's have a good dinner. Let's go outside. Let's go for a walk. Let's go on vacation. Like, look for those things to kind of like recuperate, because it is stressful not only at work, but it is at home as well, because, you know, you got the dynamics, right? You know, the child's not doing well at school, or you know, the baby's acting up, and, you know, things you know, get wild. And I have to keep that stuff in mind, especially for my wife, because, you know, if I go out at sea, you know, we go out there for 2 to 3 weeks and it's stressful, and I come home, I have to understand that my wife has been stressed just the same. Like there's a component where, and we fell into that, where we stopped doing that. It's like almost trying to compare. It's like stressors. It doesn't matter. Like, stress is stress across the board. It's not the fact that, oh, I'm at sea and she's at home, because if anything, she's more stressed than that, because she has to come home and take care of the kids while I'm gone. So you have to keep that stuff in mind, you know, as a dual male, and, you know, just understanding that at the end of the day, when we decide to retire, like, I want my family on the other end. Like, I have to make sure that she feels supported throughout my journey, and I have to make sure that I support her through her journey just the same, so we can enjoy ourselves when it's all said and done, because our fruits of our labor is to reach the component where we can truly spend time together at the back end, but also recognizing that there's still going to be work to be done to make sure the kids are raised appropriately, and to make sure that we continue to build our foundation and not neglect each other as we strive to do well in the military.
Wow.
Yes, indeed.
Do you like that?
Yes.
Yeah, EP.
Wow, that was very deep. One thing that you said too that caught my attention was you mentioned how, you know, both of you have stressors, right? One may be at home and one may be deployed, and the Prices talked about this too. And I think what I like about what you said, that I think junior sailors really, we all should take away from that piece, is you don't compare
Oh no, you don't put yourself in a bad situation.
You don't compare. Like one person is, you can't say, oh well, you don't understand what I'm going through and what you're going through. It doesn't work like that, you know. So I think that's very deep. I think that shows a sign of humility within you too, right?
Oh yeah.
Like you understand that, yeah, you're going through stuff, but you know, my spouse is going through stuff too. So how can we work together? That's pretty deep.
Exactly. Taking that time to communicate. Communication is key.
Definitely. All right. Well, we're gonna come back to y'all. We're gonna go ahead and move forward to JG Select and Chief Kula Vangzas. So talk to us, if you don't mind. What would you say some challenges are that you guys have went through or still may be going through?
Go ahead. Go first.
I know it's for us. I mean, of the couples here, I think we're the only ones that are in different ratings. So whenever he was on C duty and I was on shore duty, it was kind of like I was on C duty too because I was the SEL for the command. So even though he was in that operational command, I still had a lot of, I guess, time-consuming things that were trying to leave the command, as well as being on the operational platform and being gone all the time, trying to balance and such. And then whenever we are gone, let's say I was TAD somewhere, just trying to not feel guilty about just like JG said, like letting my hair down, just relaxing, enjoying that time that we had to breathe. Because, you know, whenever you get back home, you're not going to have that time. And then just encouraging your spouse whenever they are away and they have that time to just kind of relax and recuperate, to take advantage of it, because we need those times of self-care, of personal care. So what do we have to add?
No, I don't. Not right now.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna throw some questions out here, and you know, feel free to just answer as you feel. So and we're sticking with challenges right now. So in the military, you know, it's very common that you want to make the next pay grade. You want to get promoted, right? Whether it's E4, E5, E6, E7, on up. How do you manage I'm trying to get promoted and make it to the next level while at the same time trying to keep a healthy relationship or healthy marriage? And we'll go back to the prices and then work our way to John Gills and Kulavanzas. I'll start with you, prices.
So making E1 through E6 was, we were like, babe, you're on your own. Study and do your job. Like, it's not that hard. But the challenge became when we were both focusing on trying to pick up Chief. I've been in, 2 years longer than Lex. And so there was a moment where we knew we had to rotate orders for C. So he had an opportunity to go to C. I had to stay behind shore. So we're like, you know what? We'll just alternate. I'll do my best when I'm at my shore command because I can still pick up Chief or the next rank, even being at a shore command. But you being forward deployed is your opportunity. So you're going to make the most of it. But just know, when you come back, and I expect you to make rank, but when you do come back, it's my turn and stuff to put my career forward. And that's exactly, we've been alternating. So he was able to pick up Chief on the GW, came back. I got to go to FST. I picked up Chief, and then we were lucky enough to actually, get selected for senior the same year, being at shore command.
It's just communication, man. Like we sit there. Look at this dude, bro. We'll sit there and when you're thinking about rank, it's key. A lot of us, we think that rank is just like, oh, it's automatic, or promote me, I work hard, fill in the blanks, right? But there's a lot of communication, not just within the family. Like I'll reach out to, JG and every other dual military cup. I know, I'm like, hey man, how do y'all do this? What'd you do? How'd you, write your eval? Because there's certain things that we understand being married, like not just married, but dual mil couples that can and can't fly. And then the second piece is just like, you know, no one goes out of their way to say, okay, I have to take this, you know, fast paced or arduous or this crazy duty station, because it's not guaranteed. So it's like, all right, within the things I can control at this, whatever command I'm at, what can I do to make it better? What can I do to at least learn my job and do my job well? So it's never really about, okay, let's strategize on a sheet of paper. Where can we go? Who can we leave? We got to make rank. It's just, we go to this next place. What can we do to make sure that our name, this family name, is held in high regard because we did our job well? And I think everything else kind of fell in place. Now, there were some definite hiccups, but the same way we say, okay, we have to learn ourselves and put them in places to succeed, we have to learn ourselves too. Because it's like, you know, I'll come home and most of the time I am, I get mad and hot quick. I'm easily frustrated by things. And then she'll say, okay, take it, let's put it in perspective. And, you know, I know that if I need to decompress or, okay, I'm not seeing this the way that a lot of people are, my wife does a great job at breaking it down and kind of like twisting it. When it comes to like, you know, eval writing, she'll be like, hey, look, I'm gonna tell you what I did and how I did it.
She can't be telling people
You
to write
know,
my evals.
Write this, you know, whatever. And it's a certain dynamic you have in, okay, what are we good at? And let's use that to our advantage, because we have this, you know, we have an advantage at home. Like, you know, you can come to me to turn stuff around and put it in a different perspective and change the frame of thinking. I've been greenside and ships a lot, and she's had, you know, high speed, these big commands where, you know, you have more meetings than time to breathe. And I'm like, look, I don't like navigating in that little world of everyone's a high rank sitting at a table talking about procedures and what's the next meeting topic. Like, you know, teach me how to navigate that. So we just kind of bounce things off each other. And believe it or not, you know, just knowing what we're good at and balancing each other out to help out, that has kind of pushed us forward. It's never really been so much about, okay, let's compete or let's challenge us for the next rank. It's how can we take advantage of our skill sets to make us good at what we're doing right now. And I think just having control of that, you know, that aspect has made us, you know, has at least made the rank part easy, that we've just been able to bounce stuff off each other and keep growing.
Wow. So two things I took away from that, and this is just my perspective. I'm sure others will take other things away. But two things I took away from what both of y'all said were sacrifice and teamwork. The sacrifice piece was one would go somewhere while the other one did something. And then when you're done, then you would go somewhere and the other one would do something. And it's like, you know, that was your way of saying, well, I'll take this while you go do this. And then when you get done, I'll take this while you go do that. And then the teamwork piece of bouncing stuff off of each other, like you just talked about. It's like, if I'm not, kind of like our strengths and weaknesses, right? If I'm not good in this, but you're good in this, then you can help me be stronger in this, and I can help you be stronger in that. Wow. Powerful. I like it. All right, let's move to the John Jills. What what do you guys have as far as, you know, we want to promote, you know, I want to promote, you want to promote. How do we promote?
Yeah, so for us, I know this might sound weird, but that's truly not the focus. Like we, of course we want to get promoted and we want to, you know, do good things for ourselves. But I think a lot of our conversations come more from encouragement on how can we make an impact where we are, right? And I try to encourage him as much as possible to take on bigger things. And if there's a time where he's like, oh man, I don't, you know, I'm not too sure about this or whatever, I just try to always be that encouragement. Like, yeah, you got this. Like, you're like the best leader that I know. Like, you're going to be amazing. Right. And so we just, and then on times when I don't feel like I'm doing very good, I get that same encouragement from him too. Or maybe, hey, did you think about going to this course? Or maybe you should do this thing, right? I'm trying to finish getting my degree. It's taken me forever. And he's always encouraging me, like, when's your next class? When you know, so we just encourage each other to make an impact where we are. So that way, when opportunities do arise, if there's an opportunity for him for a deployment or to go on a ship or to go do this and that, then we're ready and make that have that conversation and make that determination at that time. So Not so much trying to strategize, kind of like the prices, not trying to strategize on the next rank, but just trying to encourage each other on making an impact. So then if that happens, it happens. If it doesn't, we're okay. We're good.
No, I think that's a great point. I think if anything that we strategize is, just maximizing the opportunity that's available for us. We always looking at the end game, right? What make an impact where you are currently, and then what is the end result? What do we want to gain when it's all said and done? Mm-hmm. Just for example, obviously, leave for Lenore going to being at BUMED, and then obviously we try to avoid Norfolk like the plague. Yes. But obviously a ship arrived, and then we knew Lenore was going to have to go to a shore duty. So we already had a conversation, and I think that if anything that you learn from any of this from this segment or anything like that is the communication piece. Mm-hmm. Like nothing is done in a silo. If you do anything in a silo and you're looking for a personal gain, you're gonna set yourself up for failure, and you're gonna set up your family for failure. If you communicate and you get the support on both ends, and things are gonna work out. But I think that's what it is, and because I know for Lenore, she likes that. She likes that strategic planning and stuff like that. So we talk about things, after this tour, like, okay, what are our options? We're already discussing things future-wise. So if anything arises, and we're talking about plan A, plan B, and plan C. So that way, if anything happens, and we know everything's fluid, it's the military, we know how things go, we are prepared. At least we had a discussion. And I think that's the key thing, if anything else, is just having that discussion. You might not want to hear, and you might not be on board all the time, but once you have the discussion, you come and you know that the end game is support and to put the family in a better place, then everything will fall into place. So that's what we think about, and that's what we discuss consistently to include duty stations and opportunities and impact, and as far as just like the prices, as far as this is my career counselor, if anything, so I gotta talk to her, make sure she's on board. She'll tell me for evals, for everything else. I run it by her because at the end of the day, if she's not on board, then none of this matters at the end of the day. So I'm on borrowed time. I'm at 21 years. She's still got a little bit younger than me, but so we're already, it's really, are you making an impact, and are you doing what needs to be done towards the back end to put your family in a better situation? And I think that's because we're all great leaders, and we all strive to do the best impact. So as far as the leadership on the day-to-day, that's the consultation that we have amongst each other, but we're always looking at the end result. And I think that's the key. Right.
And if you're doing a good job, right, making an impact, rank will come.
Yeah.
If it doesn't come, then that's okay.
And that's what it is at the end of the day. And I tell the selectees, I know it's chief season right now, to all the brand new chiefs, and I've seen third classes and second classes make more impact than senior enlisted leaders. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. But if you put yourself in a position of impact and you take care of yourself personally and develop yourself as a leader, all this stuff is going to translate, and it's going to be rewardable on the back end. But if you're trying to seek out promotion and stuff like that off the bat, you're going to set yourself up for failure.
So this is why, this is one of the reasons why I truly enjoy doing these live Zoom sessions. Whether I get one sailor login or none or 100, I truly enjoy doing these because I don't even have to say anything. You guys are saying it all, and it's the things that sailors need to hear. Because you're absolutely right. The whole chasing the promotion and chasing the rank, why? Why are you doing that? If you're doing the things you need to do, then those things will come. And you all know this, but it's about getting that through to some of them to understand that, you don't chase that. It will come to you when it's ready for you in due time. It will come. But as long as you're doing what you need to do, making an impact and taking care of your family and yourself and your sailors, hey, I love it. I absolutely love it. Let me move next to go ahead. You're on mute.
I do want to preface the fact. So as we saying all this stuff, we all know we are human beings, right? So it's okay to have emotion. Like that's a normal thing. Like we're not robots, right? So if you didn't get promoted and you feel a certain type of way, you're supposed to feel a certain type of way. But it's is that a lingering effect, right? Is that carrying on past 24 hours, right? Like take a moment, take it all in, and then what is the bigger picture? And I think if you look at the bigger picture and you know that it's not when it's gonna happen, it's the impact, then you're gonna put yourself in a better situation. But you're supposed to go through these emotions. I mean, you know, my wife and I, we have disagreements. That's normal, but we don't let that linger. And it's when you allow the things to linger, that's when it starts to blow up and start having bigger consequences. And then that's when people start to fall out. But like, that's normal marriage stuff, man. Like if you think it's all peaches and cream, you got a bigger thing covered. Like it is not. But if you know that that's your heart, and at the end of the day, that's your life partner, then you put everything in perspective.
Absolutely. And you just brought me a segue to my next question. I'm gonna go to the Kulavanzas next, but you just brought me to my next question. All right, before I go to that next question, Kulavanzas, do you all have anything to add or take away in regards to trying to get that promotion while you're doing meal?
For me, well, she's always encouraging me. We always back each other up, of course. She's always giving me constant CDBs. So which is very helpful, and we compare professionally what we have going on at work. We is not asked for, but it just happens naturally when we come home from work. We just talk about work, and sometimes for me personally, anyways, it kind of wears down sometimes when we're talking shop at home, right? So there's a time and place for that as well. But as far as advancing, I mean, she's giving me different perspectives from the corpsman side, since I'm not a corpsman, so, and I mean, I don't know what else.
I would say ultimately, it's not necessarily our individual goals; it's our, I guess, our corporate goals. So the Kulavanzas are a corporation, we're a business.
Our team, I guess you want to call it. So we in this for the long haul.
And so what do we need to do to be successful, like the other couple said in the end? Whether that is like encouraging him to, go to school, to go to the SCA, or encouraging me to, submit packages and kind of take on some other challenges. We look at the end picture, what's going to be best for our team, and then we go from there.
That's dope. I like that. I like how y'all did that. I've heard that saying before. When you talk about your relationship, your marriage, you talk about your name, like that's your brand. So when people hear Price, or people hear John Jill, the people hear Kulavanza, what are they gonna say? What legacy is that name leaving behind? And I think that's awesome to think about it that way, that it's a brand, it's an organization, it's your team, it's your name. And like you said, you guys have a corporate goal together. So I like that. Good point. Now, John Jill brought up a good point that I'm about to circle around, and we're gonna get into some nitty gritty, because this is what these sailors need to hear. So my next question and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but my next question to y'all, we're gonna start with the Prices, is how do you handle disagreements as a married couple? How do you handle conflict? She's like, I just hit him with a frying pan.
You gotta think, man. Like, so before we were married, right? We were like best, like really, really, really good friends, right? So I know even if we get into an argument, conflict, whatever, as a human being, what is it that I know that she needs to calm down, right? So like for life, in order for her to be calm, she needs to be in her own thoughts and just be left alone. So if we're arguing, right, or if we have a disagreement, I know if I keep following around and pushing buttons, that's only gonna make it worse. So with me, I know for a fact I get mad at everything. I'm ultra competitive. I am like, I I mean, some people say confrontational. I call it the ultimate form of like communication. I just want to get it all out there. Let's hear both sides, and it's done. I don't want it to linger. I don't even want to talk about it. What makes it go away for me is just that, to go away, right? But when we come home, we both will have, and it's crazy. Like the funniest thing about, I can't speak about our relationship. We argue about Navy stuff. Our arguments are never about like life and marriage stuff. It's like she'll come home like, this stuff happened with all my sailors. I'm like, hey man, that's a rookie move. Like, why'd you do that? And so we have these arguments about Navy policies and what happened and how we, did stuff, or, why'd you write this person up? Why did you not give this person opportunity? And I'm like, and it literally tell my man, like, we arguing about people that probably don't even care about us right now. They probably not even thinking about us. Like, man, what are we doing? Well, you sit there and you start thinking like, you're going to have like there's no such thing as a perfect marriage. There's no such thing as like not having conflict. It's healthy. But are you savvy enough to understand, one, there's still like respect to be had from both sides. Like, don't get it twisted. The Navy may have given us titles, and that stuff don't come home. Like, there's no SEL of the Price household. We're human beings, and they don't fly like that. So, are we respectful enough to know that at the end of the day, the things we say, there's no protection from anyone outside this household. So keep it cordial. We also have to understand that anything we say is only to make the other one either better or help. Sometimes we have to get out of our own way because I may be trying to help her too much. And it's like, look, man, I don't need it right now. Like, just, don't be an SEL, be my husband, or don't be my, my SEL, be my wife. Like, we have to understand that. But the conflict is going to happen. I think it's just more of, like I said, are we savvy enough to understand that when this is happening, be respectful, listen, remember that there's a huge divide between what we are with uniform and what we are as a couple when we come home. And then when that conflict happens, communicate, deal with it head on, and then push it away. We got other stuff to do. We can't just let that stuff linger and tear us apart.
Yeah, and honestly, the only time we actually had a real conflict was probably causes a lot of military relationships. I think you're going to either have a super strong relationship or you're going to have a weak relationship. And for us, that was after our first 2-year separation. When he came back from overseas in Japan and I was stuck in San Diego, we got into a lot of arguments, and we never argued in our entire year of, we've been together since 2005. But we noticed it was because we were used to doing our own thing, and we had to actually learn how to live with each other again. And so we were, again, single people for 2 years. And I think, for females, males, it doesn't matter. That's probably the biggest problem in military relationships is that separation period and stuff. And so it took us about a good year. We literally had to start dating again. That's what kind of helped us out, is to get to know each other, get to live with each other. I was used to having my own habits, and he wanted to do this. I'm like, wait, you messing up my family dynamic, what I got going on here. You don't run this. And so those were things that we, worked through. And like Lex says, now when we do argue, it's about work. So I can't wait to retire. Maybe we'll find something to argue about, like Netflix or whatnot. But also setting that foundation of, we were best friends, before we got married, but finances messes up a lot of people. So for us, I can't speak for everybody else, but what we do is we make sure we have separate accounts. His money is his money, my money is my money. And we just have joint accounts to take care of all the bills. So I don't have to worry about what he's doing with his money. If he spends all of his money on sneakers and comes back without anything, that's on him. As long as the bills are paid, that's on him. If I spend all my money on coffee and wine, that's my problem. But at the end of the day, so there's certain things, and I talk with my junior sailors, most of the time it's finances and trust in a relationship. And when you're deployed, communicating, the best thing that happened to us also on deployment was, it was almost like we were virtually dating, because we had to talk, as long as we weren't in River City or anything, but talking through the computer. So that also helped strengthen up our relationship as well. So you got to take those, times to take advantage of those situations.
Wow. Man, that was deep. And I think one thing I took away that I really like was the fact that you said you guys started dating again. You know, when you guys get separated for whatever that reason is, deployment or whatnot, you came back and it's like you had to reinvent, you know, what was there, reinvent the wheel or whatever case might be, but you started dating again. Like, you got to do that. I definitely think some sailors gonna take that away from this. I think somebody's gonna really use that. I can see that. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being very transparent, both of y'all, in that. John Gilles, if you guys wouldn't mind speaking on how do you handle conflict within your marriage? How do you handle disagreements or arguments or whatever the case might be?
Yeah, so for us, we also have separate accounts, but we don't typically argue over stuff like that, but just, you know, it that helps. But when we do argue, I think it's important for us to, and especially for me, to remember that he does not mean to harm me. And so if I am upset about something or get defensive about something, I always have to remember that we are partners, we're on the same team. And then again, it all just always boils down to communication and figuring out, okay, maybe he said something in a certain tone. That's always the thing, right? Maybe he said something in a certain tone that I took offense to, but he didn't mean it that way, right? So we always have to just kind of circle back, and it's taken us a while to get here because we've gone through, you know, of course, some conflict, but eventually figured that out, that you know, it might just be a miscommunication, and we got to get to the root of whatever it is, and not just escalate things based on what I'm interpreting, or, you know, it might be wrong. And so we have to always circle back and check in with each other, do those little check-ins, like, okay, I felt some type of way when you did this or you said that. What did you mean by that? And then that usually helps us to kind of get past it.
Yeah, it's when my wife was working at BUMED, we used to argue a lot because she used to always have these like policies and stuff. I'm like, that doesn't work, like, you know. And so understanding that she's exactly right. Like this, it's the military and policies and everything. You can't take that home and then have like, it's you against me type deal, right? Like, there's so many different ways to kind of peel back that onion, I guess, to a certain extent. So like, just understand if she's going through some, as being as an SEL for Oceana, she has her own like challenges now, right? It's a different concept of leadership, right? So she'll come back and, you know, and say, you know, this is going on and whatnot. And for me, I give advice when she wants to hear it. Like, if she doesn't want to hear it, hey, I'll listen all day, and then, you know, we'll keep it moving.
Yes.
If she seeks advice, then I'll give it to her. And I think that's, and it's the same for her. Sometimes you just need a sounding ear. You don't really want to hear like, oh, you could have done this, that, and the third. Sometimes you just want to be able to just voice what transpired. And I think you as a couple, you got to understand that, especially being strong leaders. Like, you always think your way's the correct way, and sometimes that's what, you know, you stand firm on that, and then just letting it be understood. Like, yeah, I just want you to hear this, and then, or I want you to hear this, and then what do you think about that? Okay, this is what I think, baby, stuff like that. So as far as the dating thing, we did that as well. COVID-19 definitely hit us hard, so it's hard to get like our time, right? Because we got a brand new baby, and, you know, he wants his moment with us as well. So, and then each of our children have, you know, their own thing of what they expect from us. So, you know, because of COVID-19, like, we always have to find a different way of like trying to find our moment, you know, whether it be watching a show that's just me and her, you know, she likes to watch, you know, This Is Us and whatnot. So like stuff like that. And, you know, I try to have her watch some sports because you only could do so much, right? Like, it's not like, so we try to, you know, just be there for each other, even though it might not be something that like we're totally in tune with. That's the compromise, and that's the love that we have. You're gonna have to make those kind of like, you know, those challenges and make them work. So I think that once again, it comes with compromise and love and understanding that at the end of the day, like, what is the end result? Like, some of the stuff that we deal with, like, you look at it at the moment and then you can make it a big deal, or you can say, you know, let's let's talk about this and let's move forward. And I think even when we're at our heightened stage of emotional distress, like we always come back to each other and say, hey, okay, like how do we move past this? And we don't let these things linger. Like you got 24 hours. Like after that, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna move forward because you don't want things to like a week pass by and a month, and then that sort of thing starts to blow up. And for me, and she's coming to learn that like I used to harbor a lot of stuff, right? So I won't let this little stuff bother me, and then I just get to a moment I start bringing up old stuff, and I know that that's my weakness, right? So she'll bring that up, and then for me, I make a concerted effort to talk about it within that 24 hours. So yeah, this bothered me, babe, and then we'll work through it because I used to just like all jot that stuff down and have judgment day and stuff like that. But she was like, no, it's not gonna do that.
And I thought we were all good.
Yeah, so it's understanding your partner and understanding that we are individuals in our own right, but how as a couple, where's the compromise and where's the what's love is what's going to take us and where we want to go moving forward. And at the end of the day, God, like that, I think the church and stuff like that has definitely kept us components. So I think understanding that what is the end result moving forward? Like what do you want to do with your family and how do you want to move forward? It alleviates a lot of things.
Awesome. And I don't know, I didn't hear any bad tone in his voice, so I think he's doing good.
So my wife's Puerto Rican, right? And she speaks.
I'm loud.
She's loud, but you can't match the loudness. That's the thing. So I gotta tone it down, like right now.
Gotcha. All right. Good stuff. We're gonna move forward to the Kulavanzas. What are some ways? How do you guys handle your conflict or disagreements?
Oh, me? Okay. Well, we'll talk about it. It's like everyone else in here. Communication is the key. And me personally, I'm a venter, I would say. So I'll vent a lot to her, and then she'll be an ear for me. She's not gonna say anything, of course, because it'll probably just trigger me more to continue on. So she's wanting me to shut up, pretty much. And so she'll just listen to me until I get it all out, and then I guess bring me back down to level-headedness, and then we'll talk about it, in a cordial manner. But we don't really disagree too much on anything.
Except the kids.
Yeah, besides the kids, like everyone else, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Anything else?
So we don't really have too many conflicts. I think with both of our personalities and the energy that we have together, it just kind of flows. We have our zen, our feng shui. Whenever we do have any type of conflict, I would say 99.999% of the time, it has something to do with the kids. So just kind of venting our frustration from, I guess, the woes of parenting. And sometimes it's just reevaluating, okay, well, am I doing this right? Because just the energy that they're bringing to us to kind of mess up our energy. But whenever it comes to just us, whether it's work or just day-to-day things, we don't really have too much conflict. And I know, I think it was about a year or so ago, like the other couples had mentioned, I guess really just taking time for us. So we would try to go on a date night at least once a month, just the two of us, no kids, just to kind of rekindle and just take back that time for us. But COVID definitely ruined that for now.
Yeah, we'll probably go make a long drive somewhere just to get away,
But there's not much conflict that we have. We're having to do conflict resolution, which I'm grateful for.
For now, but we'll see whenever I retire in a couple of years and she's still in. So you never know.
All right. Good stuff. All right, I'm gonna ask one last question on the challenges path, and then we'll move to some positivity, successes, and then we'll try to get this closed out soon so you guys can get back to enjoying your dating day Saturday. All right, so let's move back to the prices. My next question is, and let's talk about orders, because majority of sailors are going to come up to the point where you're dealing with orders. how stressful or challenging has it been being a dual military couple and dealing with selecting orders? Whether it's you trying to do the spouse colo, or you guys would like to get to this location, or just what are some things that you guys have encountered in regards to picking orders?
So I'll say like stressful is not like, so with us two, we are both, and maybe I got lucky. We kind of like, hey man, roll the dice, get us out of here. If it was up to us, we'd have a different duty station every year. Like we just like, it is what it is, right? We've never complained. We've never told the Navy, send us here or whatever it is, right? It's keep our family together. We'll figure it out. And that's kind of been our motto. Now, where the issues play in is we have to understand we're both corpsmen, right?
And
There are
we were
not
lab
many.
techs.
Yeah, we're both lab techs too. Back in the day, so there's not many duty stations that we can go that do not involve hospitals or clinics or something dealing with medical care, right? I mean, just the nature of the beast. So where our issues would come in is like, all right, man, we did Balboa already. Not really trying to, or damn, here come Portsmouth. Like we know what it is. So, like I said, I've always been greenside. I've always been, on the ship, and I've been at hospital. And we both have been able to strive in whatever location. Like we just figure it out. However, there are a lot of things, at least on my, my part, that is like kryptonite. I don't like emails. I don't like meetings. That's straight hospital 101. So it's like, if you can take the shore duty hit because she's more successful in that realm, keep me away from it. But I got to pay my due also. So it's like, all right, let's figure this out. So like, Chief McCall and I were stationed on the GW together. And I was like, I just want to see something new. I've already done the West Coast my entire career. Let's do East Coast. And I remember the first thing I told my wife is, you go and get your ship, but do not negotiate for me. Because I already know they're going to say Portsmouth. And so I was so confident that that hospital was coming. I remember I was like, Chief McCauley, tell me about Virginia and Portsmouth. How is it? And I remember, and for all you junior sailors out there listening, his exact words to me were, the East Coast is where it's at. They got nothing but, military bearing. They're good to go. It's a beautiful place. He pretty much, he told me everything. He sold me in his dream. And there was so much stuff he didn't tell me, right? So please, make sure you consider the source when you're asking these questions. The Chief McCauley got me. But I remember he hyped, Portsmouth up. So I'm like, you know what? I'm like, wherever you go, I'll follow. And then she was like, hey, you got Portsmouth. And we still here. So key concept, like we never had an issue with duty stations. It just, our main concept was keeping our voice together. The separation thing, not saying we couldn't handle it. It's just, I didn't like it the way it happened. Like it wasn't a choice. There was a couple things that happened on the Navy's part where the term, we made a mistake. The Navy made a couple mistakes on paper, and we were separated for 2 years. And because it was a mistake that could have been addressed or fixed, that cut us deep. Like the trust that we had for the Navy and the trust that we have for some things, that cut us deep because we believe so much in, help the detailers do their job, because we know that job for them is stressful, and believe in your chain of command and believe in his Navy system. And we kind of saw the ugly side of that by believing in so many people that it hurt us. But as far as just the duty stations, knowing what our rate is and understanding what we signed up for, that part, is no conflict, no stress. We just know, okay, you did C, my time to do, C, and we go back and forth. But we also know that there's a lot of times we can't do C. As you get more and more rank, those opportunities shrink. So when you're like, hey, I got to get back out to sea, and the Navy comes back and be like, hey, I got these great sea duty orders for you on shore at a hospital, you just got to take that and, and push with it. But again, as I'm pretty sure all the couples will say, as long as we're communicating, there's nothing that can be thrown at us from a duty station. We'll always find a place to live. Well, you find these small nuances or these rays of hope. Like I said, we have a son, so it's who cares about the duty station? How are the schools? How are the neighborhoods? How's the cost of living? Can we buy a home that we're going to enjoy coming, home to at the end of the day? and so on and so forth. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to have its challenges, but outside of that, you know, that work, are we coming home to something we can build with and be happy about?
Yeah, and I would say when it comes to orders, even when I'm talking with junior sailors who are married and stuff, is the first thing you got to remember is why did you join the Navy? And I know a lot of people are gonna say we joined the Navy for school and stuff like that, and which is great. So okay, cool, you joined the Navy for school. No matter where you go, you can still get school. So why else did you join the Navy? Did you join the Navy to stay in San Diego next to your family? Probably not. And stuff. So don't be afraid to travel. Don't be the I-5 sailor or on the East Coast, just traveling up and down Norfolk and stuff like that. There's opportunity. The Navy has the best diving boards in the world and stuff. So take advantage of it. So that's why for us, it didn't matter where we got put. The more important thing was as long as we were together. Get us together. We'll figure it out. We'll make it happen because we're going to be successful in whatever we do. The first thing we do is understand what the command's mission is, and we're going to be successful. But we need to keep our family together because at the end of the day, whether you stay 4 years or 30 years, the Navy's going to end for us one day. But we want to make sure our relationship is intact. So I know another thing for female sailors or, you know, female married couples are always, you know, saying, well, I've got to, you know, support my husband's career. Again, you guys are in this together because you joined the Navy on your own. You didn't follow that individual into the Navy. So your career is just as important as their career. And it's a partnership in life and stuff. So go back to something we talked about earlier. We said, if we got to go wherever, we'll make sure we take turns and stuff to choosing the quote unquote duty stations that's going to put you to the next level in your career. We make sure we both maximize our opportunities. But again, take turns. We don't put, you know, somebody's career over someone else's career.
Awesome. Good stuff. All right, let's hear from the John Gills. What are some of your thoughts in regards to order selection for married couple?
So for us, it's really the planning early. This is something that we talk about a lot. And start, you know, even if things aren't, we start checking in with each other to see kind of where would we like to go, and then whether they're available or not, just something that we talk about, and then looking at different options. Well, what can we do in this location or that location? And it is good for us too because we are both corpsmen, so we start looking at these things. And just like the prices, right? We look at schools, we look at, you know, is a location going to be good for us to live, that kind of thing. And then when it does come time, at least we are on the same page for the most part. And then we can then, you know, go with whatever the Navy wants us to go and that we can negotiate, right? Another important thing is that I was a single mother before we got married for quite some time. So what also was very helpful is getting the kids kind of involved as well with the order selection process. So some of those conversations that would have about, you know, the pros and cons of different locations, get them involved too, because it's a big deal. It's not just us moving, them too, having to make new friends, new school every single time. And I think that's what's helped them to be resilient as well. So they're looking forward too to the next move and what we can do here and there. Now social media has helped too because kids are able to, you know, kind of, or I can say, we can stay involved with some of the parents from prior duty stations and things like that, and the kids can still talk, which is really helpful. But we haven't had too much of a hard time as long as we just talk about it early.
Yeah, I think that's the key. At the end of the day, we all know that the military the mission will get done regardless, right? When you talk about even on shore duty, there's still IA deployments that might come up that might be unexpected. You know, things of that nature. So the communication piece and just trying to plan, even though some things might not fall into a certain criteria that you've talked about, you know, just having that communication ongoing. It has to be a dynamic, consistent conversation on what will happen if this situation should come up and whatnot. You know, and I think that has alleviated or at least mitigated a lot of angst between both of us. You know, I truly don't make a decision without her. And I think just like it was explained earlier in regards to just understanding that we both have careers and my wife has goals just the same. So I want to know what her goals are, you know, so we can get to that as well. Like it is a path that we are both walking on, and how do we both work with that. So if it can't work at this juncture for her situation, and it is beneficial for me at this point in time, then just like they stated, next go around, I want to know what she wants to do. And because at the end of the day, just like was stated earlier, is what is the end result? We all want to make an impact. We all want to feel invested. We all want to be having an opportunity and a voice, and that's through conversation and ensuring that she has those opportunities just as well as I do.
Oh, all right. All right. And then we're going to finish this one with the Kulavanzas. Anything you want to add or take away in regards to order selections?
Not too much, because I'm following her. So where she goes, I go. So if she's happy, I'm happy, and I can succeed anywhere I go, pretty much.
Well, okay. So this is a very unique one, because the other two couples are both HM. So in your case, one is a different rate, and one is, so how, I guess, challenging or difficult is that, being that you're in the EN community and she's in the HM community? Has that been difficult to try to make it work?
Not too much, because I tell her anyways. I don't know what you guys, as far as the corpsman, I guess where you guys can go, because you guys pretty much go anywhere, and I'm kind of limited to where I can go as well. But the detailer, they work with me just to make sure where I get in where I can fit in, and I pretty much they just put me in, plug and play me anywhere. That's how it's been for me, and I've been pretty successful where I've been recently.
So would you say, and this can be to any of the couples here, would you say that it's very key and vital to reach out to your detailer ahead of time to let them know what your thoughts are as far as what you guys are trying to do as a couple?
Yeah, most definitely. So we reach out as early as possible, so they know, so they are aware, and then they'll communicate, with her. My detailer will communicate with her detailer, and then they'll plan accordingly.
And definitely using the resources of My Navy assignments. So before we had the My Navy assignments, going in and just kind of doing the sailor comments, just letting them know. So for me, since had been putting in for commissioning a lot, like, hey, these are my career goals. This is what I want to have planned for myself. And then these are some of my special situations. I know sometimes I had to try to refrain from contacting his detailer. It didn't always work, because I'm the one that's very, I guess, aggressive whenever it comes to careers. Like, hey, this isn't getting done. Let me call the detailer and communicate. Sometimes he doesn't necessarily, I guess, know the lingo, and I've had the fortune of knowing detailers and talking to detailers, so just kind of being able to communicate it a little bit better. But I would say communication early and often would be best for anybody, just letting them know what your intentions are, what your plans are, what you have going on, what are some of your challenges, so that the detailer has the best opportunity to help you to achieve the goal that you want as far as duty stations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. And then just for the sailors that are watching, Lieutenant J.G. Select Kulavanza brought up a great point. Use your sailor comments in your My Navy assignment. That block that's in your My Navy assignment, definitely use those sailor comments and put in there what you would like the detailer to know. The detailers do read that block, so put it in there. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So let's move away from challenges, and let's try to lift some spirits a little bit. And let's talk about some good things. Let's talk about some positive things. So starting with the prices, and I'm not even going to give you a specific question. I'm just going to open it up to you, and I'm just going to say, what are some positives or some good things that you've seen come from being dual military? What are some great things that have happened in your life from being dual military?
Honestly, being able to take advantage, I know it's going to sound crazy, but being able to take advantage of the dual BAH, the dual pay and stuff. what we do when we buy our houses, whatever, we actually buy a home where we're comfortable in, but that only forces that utilizing only one BAH. And that allows us actually to put aside the other BAH and just stack paper and put that aside. So that's been one financial benefit and stuff. So yeah, that's been great. But the most important thing, honestly, is being able to marry my partner in crime and my mentor, being that we're both, lab tech senior chiefs. There's so many times I think my career actually is probably more successful because I got somebody who's constantly challenging me at home, but somebody who is like-minded like myself, but who's already an amazing leader who I can actually go and ask questions and stuff and be like, well, you know what should I need advice and stuff. And because of his advice, I feel my sailors are actually getting, two for the price of one.
Oh, that was a commercial.
I know, right? That was good.
I ain't gonna lie. That sounded good. For a minute, I was wondering who she was talking about when she said a good leader, because I'm like, wait a minute.
That's why I'm looking up.
I was like, shit.
Now, if I say, there's always gonna have perks to anything, right? And it's all on what you make of it. What I'll say is I am very, very, very competitive, like I've already stated. And for those that know me, I don't really compete with people. I compete with me. So I can go back and they'll be like, hey, man, this is a great tour. Y'all these inner tour awards. And I'm remembering all the stuff I didn't get done. We'll sit there. Like I checked on board GW. Chief McCauley was my my career counselor. And I had to do my CDB. And it's both of our first time on a carrier. And on the CDB, he was like, write your goals. So I said, all right, I want to be the Sailor of the Year. I want to be triple qual. I want to make Chief Petty Officer and leave with like a bunch of awards. He was like, bro, you only here for 2 years. And I remember we showed this sheet of paper to everybody and the consensus was laughter. They was like, man, this dude crazy. Something ain't right, all this stuff. Fast forward, I made Chief, triple qual. I want to say I got a mid-tour NAM, inner-tour comm, and all this stuff. And the DOCPO brought me on the side. Was like, how do you think you do? I was like, I failed. And she was like, I don't understand your thinking. I'm like, I didn't get Sailor of the Year. And they were just baffled. And they was like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, when I set goals, I want to attain and hit all of them, right? But being dual mill, that mindset comes from, my wife. We're always pushing each other. Like, I would never marry somebody where I'm like, man, I got to pull this person up. I want someone that is either my equal or someone that I'm striving to be just as great. So there is no like off period. We sit here and I'm like, all right, what can I do to keep pushing myself? She's in school, I'm in school. She's getting her degree, I'm getting my degree. She's obtaining all these different marks. I'm going to be hitting these marks. It's not because of the competition. It's because we're trying to be equally as great to push each other to be better. So once we start going through, it's like, all we want is what's best. And I think when you marry someone who's kind of in the same, that same wheelhouse or whatever, it helps you to understand what that spouse may or may not be going through. So you can kind of help them keep pushing or get out of it. So when I come home, I'm like, man, it's crazy trying to get your degree at an advanced age, still leading. And you look over and the spouse is like, sipping wine or whatever, like, you really complaining? Like, I already finished my class. And so it helps you put in perspective and keep pushing. Or if you're like, man, I can't believe I got all these sales, I got this, and this, and I still got to come home and you expect me to cook. And it's like, bro, like as this person's in the kitchen cooking, for real? Like, and like I said, just helps you put it in perspective that you have someone that can not only understand what you're going through, that's probably been there and done that, and can help you navigate to push through.
So I literally just envisioned her with a glass of wine looking at you like, bro, you really complaining about this?
That was a legit conversation that happened.
Right?
Love it. Good stuff. And let's be real. Like I said, we say we're going to keep it real in this. That double BH is a beautiful thing. And that is a smart idea to say that even though we have this, we're not going to use all of it. We're going to basically work within our means, live within our means, and then, budget the rest. I think that's brilliant.
like Lenore, like Lenore. Well, seeing she Jaw was saying, she's planning and she's strategizing, communicates, right? So I remember we're in San Diego and we're both E5s, and you move into housing, right? Because that San Diego market's kind of crazy, and we were like, all right, look, we want to live in a good spot, but we also want to live in a spot where they don't take everyone's both BAHs. So we found a spot, and it was like, all right, stack, put one BAH up because they have to take it, and stack the other one. I want to say we were in San Diego for 4.5 years, and we left with 92 grand of just untouched BAH.
Wow.
It was like, hey, we got goals, we're trying to move. So I'm not advocating like go and meet somebody in the military just to get BAH.
You knew that was coming next. Like,
I want somebody to be like, Senior Chief Price told me I have to meet you and marry you so we can get money or whatever. Look, no. We come a long way from selling video games and using the pennies out the penny jar to get soda or whatever. But the key concept is, for every single thing that happens out there, if you can't find the benefits and the perks, you're doing it wrong. And so when we start looking, it's like, what all comes with this? Because the military is going to take a whole lot. So what can we gain from our investment of staying in it together? And when we found, okay, look, hey, we can save, we can still live, we can still, do whatever. We use every bit of it to our benefit to get to where we're at now. And I mean, I say, I compare us to people who are married and my spouse doesn't work and is, one thing, or I'm married to a civilian and they go home and it's like, their husband or wife is like, how's your day? I can't even explain it to you because you have no idea what I'm saying. It's a great thing to come home and say, let me tell you about this sailor who, knew they were deploying for the past year and a half. The day before, they forgot that they didn't have a family care plan, and we have to jump through hoops. And instead of me just being mad the whole night, like, hey, well, this is how I dealt with it. Here's some resources. Like, it's good to be able to come home and share ideas and be understood or be heard without just saying, okay, I'm talking to a wall because there's no understanding in what's going on.
Wow. All right. That's a lot to take away from that. That's good stuff. Let's move to the John Gilles. Let's hit some good things and positivity, and what are some things you guys have to say about being dual military? What's some good things?
So I definitely agree with the prices, right? Having somebody that can understand just the things that you go through on the day-to-day and know how to help you or be able to either to vent or to give advice for that continued success together. It's amazing. And then also I would say just really, again, having that partner that you can plan together with and just bounce ideas off it's great. And then together, as we're navigating the Navy together, it's been amazing to be able to help other people too, other young people. I mean, we are not marriage counselors at all, but just to understand kind of the challenges and the successes, and then be able to help other people as they're coming up as well, it has been really good.
No, I agree. I think it definitely, for any dual military, you just take advantage of those bennies, right? When you talk about the dual BAH, you're talking about the VA home loans, right? They talked about that. We've been discussing on that. Talk about TSP, maximizing on your TSP. Now you got 2 investments that you can utilize. I mean, there's so many different benefits. You just gotta seek them and see what's best for you and your family and whatnot. And as far as just having a confidant, just somebody you can talk to, understanding just like the price is said, that's my biggest supporter. Like there's nobody else. And I told her sign my goddamn charge book. You know what I'm saying? Like that's she is my growth leader. Like she's there for because at the end of the day, that's why when it's all said and done, when this military is over, that's who I'm gonna spend my rest of my life with. So just having somebody that understands your journey and then what's the end goal? How do you want to get there? Is a beautiful thing. So, and she hit it on the head. Is really not just our journey, but being able to continue to pay it forward and talk to the young sailors, right? Because we have a young sailors that, and they might not understand the benefits, or they might not understand the struggle, which is kudos to you for putting this platform together, because then I think this thing is something that, you know, through technology and the times, it will allow young sailors to actually have this. I mean, I didn't have somebody kind of talk to me about being dual mill and understanding the challenges and stuff like that. I just watched them, you know, like Theo Marsh and stuff like that with his wife, and the Woods, Anna Wood and Al Wood. Like, I just watched them, and I just asked questions, but like just having that opportunity to, okay, maybe I can reach out to the prices and ask them an additional question, or you know, anybody on this panel, you know, is a beautiful thing. And that, I think, kudos to you. But that's really the true benefit, is having somebody on your side that knows your journey, and ultimately is going to share that path with you through thick and thin. I mean, we all have bad days at work, and we all have good days at work. And you know, she's looked at my evals, I've looked at her evals, she's looked at CDBs for my sailors, and I bounced things, and we've helped sailors because she was able to network some things that I wasn't aware of, and help sailors out through, you know, sea schools or getting officer packages in and stuff like that. Just having that kind of, like, you know, that network ability is phenomenal.
Absolutely. Love it. All right, and then let's hear from the Kulavangzas. What are some inspirations and some motivating positive things that you guys can say about being dual military?
I think that they've really said it all. I know for us, for me personally, the biggest thing is having somebody that understands. So they understand the military lifestyle. They understand the challenges of being in the military. There's someone that you can talk to. They understand those different frustrations. They're able to give you some sound advice because they're going through it as well. So having somebody that truly understands and is living what you're living. I spoke about the dual BAH, but I would say the dual retirement. So if you're a military couple that can make it to 20 or past 20 and get that pension, you know, being able to plan for that, so you have that pension coming in, it helps you financially. So you may or may not have to work after the military. And if you do work, that's money that you're able to save, and possibly getting another pension from another job, as well as its tuition, the TSP. Or if you both get out, you both have that post-GI Bill. You have that BH coming in from the post 9/11 GI Bill, plus the pensions or what have you. So that's another advantage. But for me, the biggest advantage is having somebody that can relate to what my day-to-day life is, and someone that can answer questions and like truthfully understand.
Well, you said everything from me, but yeah, just the biggest thing is the understanding, because we all on the same page, because we're all in the military, so we know the struggle from that end. Because I can only imagine sailors, like a household with just one person in the military and one that is not. So you see that dynamic that we have, where we talk about things and we know, and we are that forceful backup for each other, looking at evals or talking about sailor issues, and then just brainstorming, and we got that, you know, network just to problem solve.
And also knowing what each other has to do to excel in their career. So if he was an attorney, I don't necessarily know what he needs to do to make partner or make junior partner or to excel. But since we're both in the Navy, both sailors, both chief petty officers, we know all of the milestones that we have to meet in order to be successful, I guess, in the Navy, and then also to balance it at home.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think it is now what is it, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. So we're definitely oh, look at the baby.
He just woke up.
So we're pushing about an hour now. So what we'll do at this point, we've covered challenges, we've covered some positive things, I will say, before we get ready to do some closing remarks, if you think about the words that were said today from every single couple that's on here, whether it was communication, whether it was trust, whether it was dealing with conflict management, knowing your partner, I could go on and on about different words that you all used. I'll say this to the junior sailors out there. A lot of that are the same characteristics and traits that you look for in a leader, if you think about it. So in your various divisions and departments, if you are taking care of your sailors, you're trusting them, they're trusting you, you're caring for them, you're doing the things you need to do to lead your sailors effectively, you can take those traits and help utilize them within your relationships as well. Because if you think about it, relationships can be friendship, right? Can be partnerships, can be teamwork, can be workplace, and then as we see here, marriage. So if you are using those basic tenets, I think that you'll be successful in almost any relationship that you have, and it's proof today. You can see it. So with that being said, I do see that there are some people logged in that I didn't call on any names. I don't know if you have any questions or if there's anything you want to add or take away for anyone that's listening. You're more than welcome to either come off audio and ask a question or say something, or you can type it in the chat. If you do not have any questions, what I will do at this time is for each couple, the Prices, the John Jills, and the Kulavangses, I will just allow you to give us any closing remarks, anything that you could end with to give inspiration to any junior dual military couples. And then once you're done, we'll get ready to close out. So with that being said, we'll start with the Prices. If there's anything that you would like to give, any words of advice you would like to give to any junior military couples?
A couple things. First and foremost, understand that, being dual military is a part of a marriage. It is not the entire marriage. So you still have to know your spouse, understand them. We're all humans. So don't treat this as like another contract. Like it's an actual person, and it's a thing in itself. The one thing the three couples on here have in common is that we're all senior now, but yes, we have come up through the ranks and faced some of those same things. Now, being junior is also a struggle because, like you said, we've been transparent and real. The perks aren't the same across the board with ranks. So, if I have something going on with a spouse, if I have something going on, my wife has something going on with school or the kids, we have offices, oh man, school shut down, got to bring the kid into the office real quick. Let me close the door. They're behind the doors or whatever. Or, I got to go home, run home real quick. I don't make as big as an impact as one person being gone than a bunch of, my E3s and E4s. So yes, there are different, nuances or whatever. But the concept is if you are communicating and, you're able to take away from a lot of things we say, then you can understand that, one, we do understand, like we're human beings. We understand what you're going through. So if you talk to us, we can kind of help you. Two, hopefully this helps you kind of understand a lot of the things that happens. Because I know a lot of junior sailors, they get kind of married right out of A school or right out of C school, and they get divorced a couple years later because they don't understand duty stations and, sacrificing a little bit to help the other spouse's career and then vice versa. So please, understand it's not all, flowers and roses, but communication goes a long way. And so does seeking out someone like Senior Chief John Dill said, seeking out someone who is dual mil that can kind of help you navigate what this is and how it works. But it's something to say that, we've grown from those junior people to where we're at now, where we have all these different life lessons, not just about being dual mil, but being dual mil coming through the ranks, and how that played out for us. So as always, good luck. Ask questions if you need them. We're there. Hopefully you're just as successful in marriage as we were, or we are rather, and successful in your career too.
One thing I'll say to everybody is, just like if you were dual mil, you were a civilian, whatever, before you think about getting married, know yourself and do not rush into marriage and stuff. Because no, it's not a contract, but it should be a lifetime commitment to your partner. So just don't do it for the money, for the BAH, or for anything else like that. So or because, oh my gosh, I'm getting orders and we're going to be separated on different coasts and being married is the only way to get through it. Do not get married for the wrong reasons, because if you enter into the marriage for the wrong reasons, there is a strong possibility that marriage will not last and stuff. So I think that's probably the most important thing, is go into the marriage for the right reasons, because it's going to take work. Just like your career is going to take work, your marriage takes work and a commitment.
Wow. Great feedback. Thank you, Price, for that. John Gill, we'll take closing remarks from you.
The only thing that I think is really important, again, is just that communication, right? So just know all the things that could happen, right? Just kind of like Senior Chief Price said, the different orders and how they were separated, and then one person going to see someone saying that short. There's a lot of challenges, but staying together and not letting other people influence your marriage is so important. So that's why I think it is important to not really seek counsel, but ask those questions to people that have gone through some of the same things that you're going through. Because if you let a lot of other people into your marriage or kind of give you bad advice, especially on those times when you might be separated, that's where a lot of marriages fail too. So remember who your teammate is, right? In your partnership in marriage, and then work together moving forward. So that way you guys stay strong throughout the Navy and then beyond.
Yeah, I think just understanding your resources, seek out mentorship, and then to make it in simple terms is that as you're striving to be the EP in the Navy, you want to be the EP at home as well, right? Like it's just that just as much as you want to put in work on your professional side, you got to put in work on your marriage to make it work. And just understanding your resources. There's plenty. We attended a church retreat, and it just re-emphasized in that it don't have to be a church retreat, but there's also Fleet and Family Service Center. There's resources available if you're struggling and stuff like that to seek out, as well as us. If you anybody on this panel, the Prices just kind of said it earlier, is that seek out people that are dual mill and understanding the challenges and how you can overcome that in your own personal life and stuff like that, and stay humble. So like ultimately, what are you doing it for? And if you're doing it for your partnership, then there's sacrifices that you got to make just the same.
I think that's a very dope concept that you brought up. You want to be the EP at work, but you also want to be the EP at home. I think I never thought about it like that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. Good concept. And then the Kulavanzas, do you have any closing remarks that you would like to give to junior sailors?
The only thing that I want to add, because everyone else has said it all, is the Navy is hard. Being in the military is hard. Being married is hard. But I guess doing both for the right reasons and really putting your heart and mind into being successful, you'll be successful at both. So you can do both at the same time. Both are going to have their challenges. Just knowing how to work through those challenges, what your resources are so that you can stay successful, will keep you successful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You have anything?
Just like everyone said, don't rush and get married for the wrong reasons. Know yourself first, live a little first. And then when you find somebody that you're compatible with and that you want to spend the rest of your life with, then that's when you make that commitment, and because it's a life decision.
Absolutely. All right. Well, listen, for everyone that came on today, all the couples that spoke, I'm not sure if you were able to see the chat, but someone did write, thank you for sharing your experiences. It makes me feel better that there are other couples out there going through the same challenges. Thank you for the advice. So I just want to read that for y'all because there will be way more sailors that see this. And though you may or may not hear these responses, they're definitely out there. So again, for me, I'd like to say thank you to all of you for taking the time out on this beautiful Saturday to give back to these sailors. I mean, I don't even have to tell you thank you, because y'all do this anyway. I mean, everyone that's on this panel is a damn mentor to me. So thank you so much anyway for doing this. And with that being said, that's all we pretty much have for today. You all have a blessed and safe weekend. Go Dogs. And I had to slide that in there. He's an LSU fan. Legs an LSU fan. I had to do that. But have a safe and blessed weekend. And we'll look forward to the next live Zoom session, whatever that might be. All right. And so I'm going to